Hey folks, Steve here with a special video for you today that's really just talking about what is to come in the relative near term for the channel. I've gone through the ritual of putting a gigantic game back in the box. So I have finished my time, at least for now, on Axis Empires Ultimate Edition. Now I've had the game set up on my two big long tables put together for like 4 months, which is a very, very long time. Very long time to have a game set up, and really, there was flow over tables that I needed to use to just put things or rule books or player aid cards and the force pulls, and just it took up a huge amount of my game room and a huge amount of time. And as I go to put a big game like that away, especially one that I enjoyed as much as I did of Axis Empires, I get a bit wistful. Putting the game away, say, oh, that's a good game. And once it's put back in the box, it could be a while before I get to play it again. So a bit wistful. But then I look at, you can see a lot of it here, a lot of that empty table space, and that kind of encourages me because I look at that empty table space and go, hey, I haven't seen you in a long time, table space. Um, you are filled with possibilities. You are a whole opportunity to play additional games and try out different things. And I've really been focused on one game for a couple of months now. That just strike of opportunity, that feeling of opportunity, is a good one. So it's always a balancing act of putting a big game away, getting out a new game, on to new adventures. So we're going to say goodbye to Axis Empires. Now, Axis Empires was a big, gigantic hex encounter game, and I need a bit of a palate cleanser. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. I think the time is right to do something a little bit different. And I'm just going to adjust my camera so you can appreciate it. We're going to be looking at I Napoleon next. So let me maybe adjust the camera so we can focus there on that guy. Whoop, spoilers. I Napoleon. This is going to be a nice transition, I think, to play something just a little bit different. It just came out, so like now feels like a good time to strike while the iron is hot. The urge to play something new is always there, even if you have a shelf of opportunity of games that you should be playing also because you've owned them longer. But um, I'm interested in this. I want to try I Napoleon out, for better or worse. I'm sure I will fumble through the gates on it, but we'll give it a try. I think the nice thing is the box says a campaign is 1 to 4 hours, which for the channel, that maybe is just a couple of videos. I will do a very demonstrative approach to this so folks can see the way that the game is played. I'm sure others are working on their own videos out there in the community as well, so it'll be good to compare and contrast experiences when it comes to this game. So very excited for that. And then the need to cleanse my palate is because I'm going to be diving right back into Hex Encounter, deeper gameplay after this. So I need I Napoleon to kind of refresh my brain, allow my brain to rest away from Hex Encounter, and then we're going to be doing a potential trifecta here. And what I want to mention is it's entirely possible that I'm going to need to take breaks in between these games because of the subject matter is so close together. I may need a break, but these games are long overdue for play on my table, and I need to do them in the order that I received them because I feel if I did it any other way, it's kind of, um, I don't know, just disrespectful to myself for getting the games in the first place. So, in the near future, we are going Third World War all over the place, all day long, craziness. Here it is. So, we're going to be playing NATO, The Cold War Goes Hot, the designer signature edition remake of the classic game by Bruce Maxwell. I've had this the longest of the three, and I just need to do it. I just need to play this. It's been overdue. I've punched the counters. I've somewhat sorted them. It's kind of ready to go. I just need to get it going, set it up, and start playing. So NATO will be first. I am then going to jump into the Third World War. This is another Cold War goes hot situation. It's got a bit of differences from NATO. It's at a different scale. It's more strategic, maybe more along the lines of an Axis Empire's treatment of things because you're much more zoomed out. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to handle the different fronts because the designer signature edition from Compass Games here of the Third World War is really comprising of all the front games from back in the day. I will probably play as much as I can fit on my table, so there'll be some logistical challenge to the Third World War. But I had waited for this for a long time, and then I got it, and I just was in the middle of other games, and I feel bad that I've not gotten to play it. So I'm gonna bounce off of NATO and go to the Third World War, and they're, the similarities here is what will make some of this challenging. But I've been sitting on these hypothetical Third World War games for so long. I just can't stand it. I got to play it. I got to do it. I got to experience it. Have some fun with it. And then, of course, I've got to follow that up with Red Strike. And you see pictured here my signed copy by the designer who I was able to meet at the last Game On, and it was really great to meet him and talk to him, um, and get my copy signed, the copy that I got in the door prize raffle. So my free copy of Red Strike that is signed by the designer, I have to play that, right? I can't not play it. I want to play it, and I need to prioritize playing it. But I've got a little bit of a Cold War Goes Hot backlog that needs to be cleaned out. So we're going to do that. We're going to play these. I am going to aim to play some of the larger scenarios. I may play multiple scenarios when I get to covering these games. This could be all I'm going to be playing for the next like year potentially. I've got to figure out my how I'm going to approach this, but the nice thing is I should be able to jump up on NATO pretty quickly. I've already started to read the rule book a little bit. I'm looking at the scenarios. I'll probably play the Baltic scenario, the sort of training scenario for NATO, and then we'll play one of the larger ones, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do with the Third World War. We might spend a lot of time there just because there's a lot of different options and ways to play that. And then for Red Strike, I could be playing a lot of the smaller scenarios and all the variations in there. There's a lot of game in these three boxes, guys. Make no mistake. So it's going to take some time to work through, but that is kind of next on the list of things I want to get covered on the channel. So again, the thing that's going to be coming up next, first of all, is I Napoleon. That'll be our palette cleanser. We'll hit the hex and counter stuff. And just to cover really briefly, if you want to understand, is there differences between these three games? I'm not the ultimate expert, but I'll put it simply this way. NATO, Cold War Goes Hot, is generally an operational game that abstracts sea and air activities, where you're using kind of air points basically to do disruptions and all of that, but it's really treated at a point scale and minor amphibious capabilities to move steps around. And you have some helicopters and you have some things, but that's generally it. It is really centered in Germany, so it's a fight over Germany at an operational level, with those things that I just mentioned, and the different scenarios are really about, is there strategic surprise or is there a buildup, and you kind of take your pick. You also decide, are you playing in 1983 or 19, I think it's 89 or 88, maybe it's 88. Where the Third World War then is much more strategic in scale. You're much more zoomed out. You're really fighting in Europe. You're fighting in these sort of broad fronts. So there's the Arctic front in Scandinavia. There's Germany. There's a southern front, which is kind of the like the Balkans ish, I guess is one way to describe that. And then Persian Gulf is out there in the Persian Gulf in the Middle East. And so you have maps that govern those different fronts, and it's handled at a scale that's probably more similar to a strategic level game, we'll say. There are more aspects related to air and air control and the way that you handle that. It's not quite as abstracted. So in comparison, NATO to the Third World War, one's an operational game focused on a single theater. Third World War is a strategic game that covers multiple theaters, still with plenty of detail there to unpack. You could consider it, I guess, a strategic operational game, which is what most games in the vein of like World in Flames or Axis Empires kind of are. There's operational aspects, but you're really dealing with an overall strategic situation. And then finally, Red Strike is operational. So you could think of it, not too dissimilarly from NATO, but it has a much more granular sea and naval, not sea and naval, naval and air treatment. So I could kind of see Red Strike just being a lot more complex than NATO and taking a lot more time to absorb if we're leaning into the air war, the naval aspects that again are treated with more detail. So I think the way I have them ordered, it's the order. It's also the order of the box size. The box size gets increasingly big from left to right. I've got the games in the order that I received them: NATO, Third World War, and then Red Strike. And I think playing them in that order will also be nice. I'll go from operational, I'll change it up to strategic, and then I'll slip back into operational with a bit more fidelity there, and that will at least give me some variety in the order that I play these things in. So lots to look forward to, folks. Much more to cover as I can. That's again not to say that I won't try to fit something small in between some of these games. It's really going to depend on kind of, I guess, what new games are coming out. Where do I feel like I've got an opportunity to play something? I know I've got some more GCACW coming in the mail soon. There's other smaller games that I could maybe fit in as, again, just to cleanse that palate, that I might do. But for now, you have the rough look ahead of the big game treatments to come on the channel. Hope you will enjoy those. It'll be interesting to hear people's thoughts on these games as I play through them. I know that they're really favorites of people. People really like all three of these games quite a bit. Um, and I know there's more coming from VUCA, from the designer, in terms of a Gulf Strike remake potentially. I'm not sure if that's for sure coming from VUCA or not. But there's more to come across all of these things. I think even the Third World War is going to get some kind of Pacific treatment from some folks. So there's just a lot of good hype around these games. I look forward to trying it for myself. So anyway, thanks for watching the video, guys. Just a good look ahead. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below. If you don't agree with my approach here, that might be too bad for you. But if you have other suggestions that might be interesting to modify this, I'll try to take a listen. It's going to be hard to fit any more Cold War Goes Hot games into this list. I think I'm jam-packed almost too much already, or for sure too much already. But we'll see how it goes. So yeah, take care, guys. We'll see you in the next video, and keep gaming.